From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy. The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, a loss to a G5 team drops you to 0-3. Is there only one thing left to do to help salvage this offense? And the fire and discipline from the head football coach, Mike Norvell, has it started waning? Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, promo code Warchant BOGO, Warchant BOGO. Shout out to everybody that came to hang out with Corey Clark over at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and Jeff Cameron on Friday for the happy hour. Lots of free vitamin energy flowing throughout the CP on Friday. Unfortunately, the good vibes did not carry over to Doak Campbell Stadium. But hey, it's another week, everybody, and the promo code's working. Shout out, by the way, to our friend Steve and Jenny. They're the father and mother to our guys Jackson and Brock in Orlando, as well as their daughter Ellie. So it was a full circle moment at the meet and greet, Corey. We've met the entire family. So that was the highlight of the weekend for me.
Right, sure.
So that was fun being at Corner Pocket Bar Grill. Let's do it again this week.
Yeah, and shout out to listeners Ryan and Taylor. Stephanie, I don't think I told you this. Stephanie and I recorded a video as like a 30th birthday surprise. She was having a surprise party, I think. And then we recorded our video saying happy 30th birthday. And then at the end, we're like, turn around. Ryan has something to ask you. And he asked her to marry him.
Oh, no way.
So we were a part of that. Isn't that fun? Outside on the deck at Corner Pocket, which is where, some magic happened with Corey and Stephanie. So that came full circle too. So other than the stuff that happens on the field at Doak Campbell Stadium, pretty good weekend overall.
Yeah. Warchant.com's got you covered. Warchant.com, promo code FSU1, 2 months, $1. Thumbs up. Just do something, everybody. Just let us know that you're out there. Wellness check, proof of life, just something. And don't even mean comment, though. Don't do that. Don't do that. Corey, how you bouncing back right now? How we feeling? Staring at the barrel of 0-3. Well, staring at the barrel of 0-4, I guess, right? Because we are 0-3.
I was going to say, 1-11 is the barrel you're staring in down now. It was pretty obvious midway through the second quarter. It's like, okay, well, this thing's just not getting fixed. Certainly not with this coaching staff with this quarterback. Just is not a fit. It's not working. And I wrote that afterwards. It's like it was something I worried about. It wasn't worried. That's too strong a word because I didn't seem that worried in August. I certainly didn't think it would look like this. But this is abysmal. This is literally you're looking at Florida State is 128th in the country in scoring offense, in total offense. They're 124th in the country in scoring offense. That's pathetic. I don't know what they are rushing offense. I have to imagine they're in the same area, like in the 120s or 130s.
132, 52 yards per game.
How many teams are there again, Aslan?
I want to say there's 138, or maybe there's only 133. Stand by. I can get to that really quickly. 133. Yeah. Only Miami of Ohio is worse than Florida State. So
Florida Sate has the worst, other than Miami of Ohio. Love you, Red Hawks. Are they the Red Hawks still, or are they something else? Who knows?
Yeah.
They're the worst. They're the worst rushing team in the country, and they are probably I would say for my money, certainly for the money being spent, it is the worst offense in the country, and it's not close. And that's what. That's just kind of what you came to grips to. It's like, how do you even get mad? I mean, you get mad in the moment or mad at the situation. But watching it week to week, game to game, it's like, yeah, well, this isn't a surprise. This looks exactly how it looked last week. You had 12 days, essentially, to prepare for that game. 11. Had a week off. Had a whole weekend off. And you managed 67 yards in the first half against Memphis. Again, they're going to play better defenses than this. That's the other thing that's problematic. It ain't like these were the three best defenses you're going to see all year, and you just look inept. You look inept. You look high schoolish. You look like Jeff Bowden would be rolling over in his grave if he had an offense this bad. And Jeff Bowden is not dead. That was a joke. But yeah, man, that's what's so maddening and frustrating is that it's not just that you're losing. It's that you're losing looking like a high school offense. And this is not a high school coaching staff. Certainly aren't paid like one, and they've delivered the goods before. And I think they have some nice players. They have some nice pieces. and it has not been utilized well at all. And it is a failure on all levels. But it starts obviously with Mike Norvell. It starts with the fact that he's now played 12 full quarters with DJU at quarterback, and it's getting worse, not better. So there's got to be a change. I think there will be a change. I don't know if we'll be able to comment on it or it'll even be announced or what. But moving forward, obviously, there's got to be a quarterback change because it's just not working with this scheme, this offensive line, and this guy taking the snaps.
DJ Uiagalelei, the highest graded offensive player according to PFF for Florida State on Saturday, 73.9. That's not too bad at all. But Florida State had 22 players that had game action on Saturday. Only 7 finished above 60. So again, you basically you put your shoes on and you step on the field. You start off at 60. So only 7 of the players that they had out there ended the game either staying at the bare minimum or playing a little bit better than that. I want to go through the first 11 plays, Corey, if you don't mind. Offensively for Florida State, just real quick.
Sure.
You gain 8 yards. Here we go. Run games
nice
here.
Run, yeah. 2
tight ends. We're doing all right. Second play, fumble. Wildly irresponsible carry by Roydell Williams.
There's a hole there.
Yeah.
A pretty big one. The offensive line, you don't get a lot of pats on the back. They don't get a lot of flowers. They did well in the first play, and I thought that was blocked pretty darn well in the second play. And it was as if he had the tackler had a magnet on his helmet, like come to me, Roydell, run right at me. Like it was crazy, not just to not get like 8 or 10 yards on that, but to lose the football is incredible.
All right, so you fumble there. Once you do get the ball back, your first play on your second possession, there's holding. Next play, sack. Yep. You then hurry up to the line and try to run a screen play, and nothing really materializes from that. So then you're kind of left to just run the ball to give yourself a little bit better field position for a punt with Lawrence Toafili. Third possession, this is now your 7th offensive play. Loss of 3 on a rush. The very next play, it's now 2nd and 13. You've got a neutral box. They've got 7 guys in the box, Memphis. You've got 7 blockers with your 5 linemen and your 2 tight ends. And that was, I think, maybe the biggest run of the game, Lawrence Toafili's run to the left side. Very next play, you make a right read on first down. You've got the numbers to throw the ball. You throw a screen pass out to Malik Benson. Your tight end out there absolutely whiffs on the block. It is now 2nd and 11. You get 7 yards to Kyle Morlock on a dump-off pass, maybe 8 yards because I think it was 3rd and 3. And there's 8 guys in the box, and you hand the ball off in 3rd and 3 and run right into the teeth of the Memphis box with 8 guys outmatching. I think you only maybe had 6 in there to block for it. Then you have to punt the ball again. This is coming off a bye week, Corey. This is unfortunately, I don't know how to describe how they look in practice, and this is what we're seeing from them on Saturdays and games, Monday nights and things of that nature. But this is what a bad football team does. It's one play followed by 2 or 3 inconsistent lapses that you don't consistently see them doing this kind of stuff in practice. It happens, but they're not consistently whiffing on blocks, having holdings, things of that nature. It's bizarre, and the crazy thing is I don't know how to explain it. And that's what everybody wants to know. Like, how are we here? How have they not developed a better option behind DJ? And I know for the better sake of a podcast, I wish we had some explanations. I don't, Corey. Any new theories after watching the latest debacle out of the offenses of the team as a whole?
Well, look, here's the reality, and I don't think it's reactionary. You are absolutely starting to wonder, okay, is this guy really the goods as an offensive play caller? That you can't not think that. He is supposed to be an offensive guy, and he has had some real success at Florida State. We're not going to sit here and say this isn't Willie where he never did anything here and got fired after 2. Mike Norvell had a 13-0 season, and before that he had a 10-win season, and he had a good offense, a really good running offense. Like, he's proven he can do it. So that gives you a little bit of hope, but then you're back to, okay, man, you are literally like 0-14 without Jordan Travis. You cannot, not only do you not win when he's not your quarterback, you don't even get first downs when he's not your quarterback. Every game is in the teens when he's not your quarterback. if you're lucky to get to the teens. And so, again, there's no way you could say Mike Norvell is a Jordan Travis wonder, because he doesn't owe his career to Jordan Travis, because he got to Florida State without knowing who Jordan Travis was. He accomplished quite a bit at Arizona State offensively and quite a bit at Memphis as a head coach. So that I'm not saying, but it's also fair to say, okay, man, what is this? What is this? Because you wouldn't, when you line up, when you list like the 10 or 15 what we call the best offensive minds in college football, and you guys, I'm not going to list them all. You guys can probably figure out who a few of them are. But if you start listing those names, have they ever had a 3-game run like this? And
Twice
if you want to
in
go
4
back to the
years.
Florida game, 5-game run like this, like it's been pathetic. It's been pathetic. You've scored, if you we'll use the Georgia game, but I don't like it. If you take the Georgia game into account, you've scored in the last 6 games against FCS competition.
FBS.
You've scored, FBS competition. You've scored 7 touchdowns in 6 games. Maybe 8 touchdowns. I don't remember how many they had against Florida, but I think it was 2. It might have been 3. But you scored 1 against Louisville, thanks to Lawrence Toafili on a Wildcat play. You scored none against Georgia. You scored 2 against Georgia Tech, 1 against Boston College, 1 against Memphis. That is absolutely pathetic. It's abysmal. It's astonishing. And so it is right for Florida State fans to now wonder, okay, how much of a genius is this dude really? Because I'll be honest with you, Aslan, I saw a lot of plays on Saturday where Memphis schemed dudes open. Wide the F open. Now, I thought the Florida State defense as a whole played by far its best game of the year. I do not blame anything that happened. Well, I can blame a little bit on them, but they played well enough to win. They were fine on that side of the ball. They played well enough. The front four made an impact. All of that was good to see. They had a bunch of tackles for loss. Finally, they looked more like the product we were expecting to see. But still, Memphis got some first downs. Memphis converted some third downs. They scheme guys open. They take advantage of matchups. And it doesn't seem like that's happening at all. And then you have to wonder, okay, we want to, and trust me, I've written the column. I think DJ's done. I don't think there's a reason to play him anymore. But that's not me saying that it's DJ's fault necessarily. Not all of it anyway. But with this coaching staff, with this offensive line, and lack of ability to create a running game, and apparently this scheme, what it looks like to me, Aslan, is for this offense under this current coaching staff to move the ball at all, you got to have a quarterback with legs. And if you don't, you got no chance. And that's frustrating, but that's the reality. And that's on Norvell. Like, that's not DJ's fault. You knew what he was. I think maybe he's slower or injured or something. You didn't know that. But you know what I mean? Like, is it fair to say, all right, man, if you don't have a mobile quarterback, can you move the football in the ACC? Or are you an AAC offensive coordinator? If you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have a guy that's electric back there at quarterback that can really extend plays with his legs and make people miss in the pocket and escape pressure and then make plays downfield. If you don't have that, is this what we're supposed to expect? Because that's what I'm most worried about as we move forward. This season's a wash. It is what it is. You're clearly rebuilding or retooling or however you want to call it. But to go from what you were last year to this bad, literally, guys, it is the worst offense. It might just be the worst offense in the United States through 3 games. Well, that's unacceptable. That doesn't mean anybody's getting fired. Mike Norvell's certainly not getting fired. But some stuff needs to change, and some really hard looks in a mirror need to change. And so through no fault, well, through some fault of DJ's, but mostly through the fault of the players around him and the scheme that he certainly can't fit into, either because he's not fully healthy running-wise or he just isn't good enough. This offense is abysmal, and you need some juice back there at quarterback to be able to make plays with your legs. But that's frustrating, right? Because you didn't know, you thought this coaching staff and this play caller was good enough to maybe overcome not having a guy that runs the 40 and 4.55. But I don't know that they are. That there isn't any proof of that right now in the moment as we sit here 3 games into 2024.
Yeah, for me, I mean, there's 2 things I'm really concerned about. I guess the first one is just the evaluation aspect of things. More so than him being a gifted play caller. I just thought we had an ace in the hole when it came to evaluating talent. That's what I admired so much about Jimbo. It felt like those early years, he just was able to find the right guys and piece them in here. So what we're looking at now, if we kind of pick up on what you're talking about, needing a running quarterback to make your offense go, you've been in this conference now as the head coach for like 4 years, 3 full seasons if we don't want to count the COVID year or whatever, but like 3 full seasons. So you have an idea of what you're going up against week over week. So you either really grossly missed on your evaluation of the guards that you grabbed out of the transfer portal and the running back you went and grabbed out of the transfer portal, or just offensive football in general, to where I'm going to get DJ. He is not particularly a mobile threat. He is not a reactionary runner, which I think that's a term he used on Saturday after the game that kind of described Jordan Travis, the guy that we used to have around here. So, I don't know which one you would rather it be that makes you feel better about moving forward in the future, but the offensive line seems to be a gross miss. And listen, whatever. Warchant, you told us they were going to be great. All right, I got it. I get it. But I don't know which. I think it bothers me more the fact listening to you talk about they need that threat to loosen up the box, to be the reactionary runner. How do you not realize you need that? And then you go and grab this guy as your solution.
Yeah, I think if there was any miscalculations in the offseason, it was obviously self-scouting. Your offensive line wasn't going to be good enough for you to just completely take the running back out of the equation as a running option. Now, look, there's
no Darius
some plays,
Washington, by the way. No Alex Atkins. That exacerbates
no
things,
Jeremiah
especially.
Byers. You're missing your 2 starting tackles and your offensive line coach. Like, that does matter. Let's be honest here. But it wasn't like when they had their starting tackles, they were moving it up and down Georgia Tech's face. They still were struggling even then. It looked a lot like last year, quite frankly, except you didn't have Trey Benson to occasionally bust off a 60-yarder, and you didn't have the threat of Jordan Travis. So I just think it was self-scouting, and it was bad self-scouting. They thought they were going to be better up front than they are. Here's the thing, though. I do think that if they had a mobile quarterback, or a quarterback that makes better decisions on that zone read, on the quarterback read, there's plays there. So there were 2 times where he faked a handoff to Cam Davis and pulled it. I think he threw screens on both passes. Where if he'd have handed it to Cam Davis, he's around in for 15 yards at least. But he pulled it and threw it. Now, one of them ended up, I think, getting a first down anyway. The other one was almost a 1-yard pass to Hakeem. Where those are RPOs. Those are the quarterback is making a decision. He's also checking into plays. There are run checks where it's like we can blame the offensive line all we want on 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 2, whatever it is. I can't remember the play where they just hand the ball up from the shotgun because they're almost always in the shotgun. That you hand the ball off, the running back runs laterally, and there's an extra defender because you didn't account for him. And the guy flies down the line of scrimmage and makes a play in the backfield. Well, is that the offensive line's fault? There's more guys there to block, DJ. So in that instance, you've either got to check to something else, check to the other side of the formation with the run, or pull the ball and keep it yourself. And there's a play. Look, I just want to stress this again over and over again because I don't want the first time he plays and Brock Glenn doesn't look like Usain Bolt that you are going to be like, I thought you said this guy was an athlete. He is a good athlete, Aslan. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah,
Brock
he's
Glenn.
above
He's a good
average
athlete. He could. I don't think he's average. He's above average.
That's what he's above average athlete, is what I said.
Yeah. I'm sorry, buddy. So, the play that DJ actually ran for a first down on 4th down, he got like 5 yards. He kind of made a guy miss. He fell forward in the middle of the field. I think it was in the first half. They all these non-touchdown drives kind of run together.
Yeah.
But on that play, the way it's blocked up and the way DJ makes a nice read, he keeps it. He goes around right end. Brock Glenn might score on that play. There's nobody in the middle of the field except for one defender. And he kind of trips DJ up, and then DJ kind of falls forward. But he got the first down. We were all happy. There you go, DJ. Keep the drive going. A more athletic quarterback on that play scores. Now, that's not to say that that's DJ's fault. The problem is if you're not getting special plays out of your quarterback, this offense is disgusting. So that's one element that Brock Glenn, he can turn a 5-yard run every now and again, if everything lines up correctly, to a 40-yard run. He can also make people miss in the pocket, perhaps, and get break containment, either make a throw downfield or run for a first down. He's not a statue back there. In this offense, again, it's not as if Brock Glenn is crushing it in practice, but he gives you an element that this offense quite clearly desperately needs. And if they have it, then let's see what this running game looks like. Because when they had a running threat in 2021 and 2022, and somebody that not was only a threat but could actually keep the ball, and run for first downs, they were running for 200 yards on the regular. So maybe it opens everything up if you have an athlete back there. I mean, literally, man, like, could Trevor Jackson have done worse these first 3 games? If you guys don't know, he's the walk-on freshman, but he's a very good athlete, and he was a recruitable walk-on. Like, he could be a scholarship quarterback somewhere. He's a player. But, like, if Lawrence Toafili, Cam Davis, or Trevor Jackson had taken, or Deuce Spann, had taken every snap through 3 games of this season, what would their record be, Aslan, probably?
I mean, it can be worse than 0-3, right?
Correct.
It can be worse than where they're at right now.
That's the point. They would probably be 0-3, but it couldn't be worse. And literally, it couldn't be worse. Their offense is the worst offense in the United States.
Well,
they're averaging 15 points a game, man. That's pathetic. Against GT, BC, and Memphis, you're scoring 15 points a game? Come on, man.
I just wonder, you had an extra week to plan. What is the formula? What is the recipe to win a football game that they talked about for 2 weeks? Because I agree with you. I think you put Brock Glennon, I think the sack quotient plummets.
Correct.
I think in terms of getting into negative plays, I think
Yes.
the probability of that plummets. However, I do think the chances of turnovers ticks up.
Who cares?
I'm with you. And then that's what I'm trying to say. I just feel like, okay, he's going to keep us on negative plays, but he might turn the ball over a few times. Are we trying to grind out 17-13 victories? Is that our path to victory? I feel like at this point, try to make these track meets. You've got some fast guys, right? You've got this fast team that their data, their GPS is through the roof. All right, man, like, let him throw 2 picks. Maybe he'll throw 4 touchdowns, though. There's got to be some sort of breaking some eggs, making an omelet, because at this point, you're not making, there's this offense, there's no pulse to it. Dan Mullen sounds like one of us on the outside during the halftime show. He's like, DJ just doesn't have it. Like, he's like, you need a spark. You need something, which I know sounds very, again, this goes against what I've been talking about for the last 2 weeks. You need to see results in practice that make you feel confident about these changes you're making. But there's now been 3 full football games, man, and he's made some correct plays. But not enough. And then what's the path forward with this?
It's I was thinking about it because in the second half I'm watching. I'm like, man, that's a nice throw to Malik Benson. Malik Benson made his best play was a 3rd down catch where DJ probably shouldn't have thrown the ball, but he comes down with it anyway. A really contested catch. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like a big catch because they lost the game. That's an enormous catch. That's a big-time play by Malik Benson. I think it was like 3rd and 11. They roll DJ to the right. He kind of throws, it seems like, into double coverage, but Benson comes down with it. Obviously, he had the 65-yard catch. Morlock had a couple of nice plays. You're looking at these things, and you're like, yeah, that's not bad. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, that wasn't a bad throw. That was a first down. That's a nice conversion. And you sound like, when you step back, you sound like you're cheering on a fat kid that completed 1 lap on the track. That's not bad, Johnny. You did it, man. All right. Now tomorrow maybe you do a lap in 20 yards, and then you do a lap in 40 yards. It's like this isn't how you should be viewing a Florida State offense in year 5 with so many experienced, not Florida State experience necessarily, but older experienced players. You should not be cheering or getting excited because they managed to make a few plays. That's almost more patronizing than anything else. Like this should not be the fat kid running a lap, and you're just happy that he finished.
We're not body shaming. You're just talking about the joints are under a lot of stress. We're not body shaming. Just the miracle of overcoming the adversity of gravity. So shout out.
Right, but also if you are a fat kid, let's get outside some more, big guy. Let's go do some stuff. Sorry, if you're a little bit overweight, I apologize. And trust me, I was there. I've been that guy. I know people like that. I knew them when I was a kid. I'm not. I guess we're not body shaming. Are we not allowed to want kids to be in better shape? I don't know the rules anymore.
I'm protecting us from any all angles. But.
I don't know the rules anymore. Norvell, you see what you've done to us. You see what you've done to this show. You've turned me into Joe Rogan or Bill Maher. So I that's what really struck me near the end of that game is like I kind of was like, well, yeah, he kind of played better in the second half. There was some stuff and it's like, no, Corey, shut up, man. They scored 12 points. They were down 20-9. They got the ball and they proceeded to go on a marathon. I think it was a 49 play, 1 hour and 17-minute drive that like they got a field goal out of because they get
That's the
They
one where
get
had
down to first and goal at the 3,
Oh.
ended up kicking a field goal.
How? After you pushed, I think, on 4th and 1 to get the
Just
first
do
down.
that the whole time. Do it for the next 3 plays until you get in the end zone. And also, why? Again, there's so many more problems than just this, just decision-making or pace of play necessarily. But why, when you're doing pretty well going quickly, when you get inside the 20, you start running the play clock down to 1 and you start huddling? You literally, they went, what did Ira say? They went like 22 yards in 4 minutes? When you're down by 2 scores. That's just not smart football, man. You're jumping off sides on 4th and 8 on a punt that you're not trying to block there anyway. It's just not smart. The fumbled punt. It's not just that they don't score points. They don't play smart either. They just don't. They have not played smart. Too many penalties. Too many dumb penalties. Too many dumb mistakes. But yes, I think that DJ doesn't have it. Not with this offense, he doesn't. And we can't sit here and say he's a losing quarterback because he's won at 2 other places. He was never great, but he was a lot better than this. So what did Oregon State do? How did Oregon State get him to win 8 games? How much better was Oregon State's offense or offense around him that they were able to win 8 games and average over 400 yards a game with the same guy? Why is your offense so much worse? Does Florida State need to go hire the Oregon State OC? Like, is he better than you, Mike? Like that. These are the questions that I hope Norvell and that staff are asking themselves. Like, why could Clemson win 10 games with this kid? Why could Oregon State win 8? Why could both those offenses at times look pretty darn good? But when he's here, he's just turned us into I don't even know. I don't even want slop. And so that's a question that needs to be answered moving forward, just for the future of the program. Right now, the future of the program should not involve DJU in any capacity. See what you got in these 2 kids. Figure out if one of them really fits and gets it. And I'm talking about Croman Hawk and Brock Glenn. The season's a wash anyway. I think if you're looking right now in the middle of September, you're thinking they might be lucky to get to 4 wins. Maybe. Cal might be the best team they faced so far, Aslan. That's this weekend. Yeah. Awesome. So, and look, these have not been pushovers. You saw Boston College on Saturday, man. That's a pretty good
football team. Yeah. Georgia Tech's a good football team. I don't know how their defense is, though, but that's a good football team.
Yeah, and I think all 3 of these teams are obviously bowl teams.
Yeah.
And I think Memphis might be a 10 or 11 win team, and then Cal's probably a bowl team. So you did do yourself a lot of favors. You didn't get a pushover to get any confidence built, but at the same time, these aren't incredible defenses that you're going up against, and you've looked horrible. So the season is a wash. I don't know how. If you play DJ, I literally don't know how you win 3 games. I just don't. You can't keep scoring 15 points a game. Now, Brock Glenn comes in. Maybe he turns it over a couple more times. Maybe it looks the exact same. Either way, you'll know moving forward, going into 2025, what you got to do at quarterback. And do you change your whole scheme? Do you figure out, okay, if I don't have a quarterback that can run like Jordan Travis, but like Jordan Travis is a good quarterback, man. He's not Jameis. He's not Joe Burrow. Like, he shouldn't be this magical elixir that's the only key that unlocks everything. But so far he has been, and so now you want to see what Brock Glenn and me anyway. Well, I want to see what Brock Glenn and Luke Cromanhawk can do, because the reality is this season is already going to be a supreme, huge disappointment. Start building towards the future.
Yeah. Future plans for you should include going to Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for their lunch special on Monday, which is the half-pound all-black Angus beef burger, and then come back on Tuesday for trivia night. Come back Thursday, bingo night. And come out Friday, 5 o'clock, live happy hour, meet and greet, Jeff Cameron, Corey Clark.
Unhappy hour.
No, we love seeing people out there. It's always cool.
No, we do, but everybody's unhappy about the state of events. But they're always very kind and very happy with us. You're right.
Yeah, so come on out, say hi. Maybe we'll have some more vitamin energy. I don't know. People were grabbing it left and right, so I think the stock was depleted by all the eager denizens that came out to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. 2475 Appalachian Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. What do I do on Wednesdays out there, Corey? Just soak it all in?
Yeah, just soak it all in.
Okay.
Just take the Corner Pocket experience for what it is. They don't need any bells and whistles. Just come there and enjoy enjoy the bar and the food and the beer and the drinks.
2475 Appalachia Parkway, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. So I was on the Sirius like XM show before the season started, and somebody was asking me about Norvell and who calls plays. Like, is he going to keep calling plays? I'm like, yeah, man, like he's been calling plays last few years, and it's gone pretty well. And I don't see any need to change it up. We do need to see. I don't want to go down that road yet, because I feel like, to your point about DJ's probably not it. Let's see what it looks like with Brock, because if it starts clicking at that point, then maybe we don't need to worry about trying to find a new OC play caller and figure out how we want to reclassify Alex Atkins, because, I mean, there's still plays out there, and I know they might not be schemed open as clearly and as frequently as maybe we're seeing the opposition getting it. But, there's a screen pass, Keziah Holmes. I think that's a third down play that's dropped.
Yep.
Darion Williamson.
Yep.
If that throw, and the way that, and listen, I'm in full transparency with everybody that's out there listening, I've been watching the games from home, other than I was in Ireland, clearly, but the home games, they're doing construction at Doak. They've limited some of the press box seating, so it's always like a game time decision on whether or not I can have a seat. I'm like, I don't even care. I'm like, I'll just watch the games from home. I like watching it from home. I feel like I get a better sense of what's going on. Lewis Riddick draws out that throw to Darion, which I think was a third down play as well. And if DJ anticipates him coming out of his break correctly, like on this intermediate curl, maybe he still does drop it. But it would have been at least like 8 yards more of a gain, and that's probably when Darion was expecting the ball to come to him. Meanwhile, Darion has to end up running like 5 yards, 6 yards backwards towards the line of scrimmage, towards DJ to be like, hey, man, hello. And then at that point, maybe the nerves start getting the best of you because the ball's not there and you're having to press and get the quarterback's attention, and it hits off of his hands. And that's another third down that kind of goes by the wayside. So I don't know exactly where I'm at right now when it comes to not believing in his play calling acumen, because, a lot of it's Jordan knowing where the ball has to go to, and his confidence in wanting to throw the ball, but also having like reliable targets like Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. But I don't think you need all three of those. I think that's why I think if we see Brock out there, we'll get a better understanding, right, Corey? If anything, this is a fact-finding mission on how we need to utilize Mike Norvell best as CEO, head coach, play caller.
Yeah, and I think it's a fact-finding mission for the next 9 games. Again, it isn't like they were incredible in the middle of last season offensively, and then they've just fallen off. They weren't very good the last 4 or 5 games, even with Jordan. At least the last 3 games with Jordan, they weren't very good offensively. A lot of that had to do with the offensive line, clearly, and then this season it doesn't look like it's gotten any better. But yes, man, when you go 2-10 or 3-9, which is exactly what this team is staring down right now, and you're going to have the worst offense in the ACC and maybe the worst offense in the Power 4, unless things change drastically quickly, everything is on the table. Now, does that mean you need to go get yourself an offensive coordinator that is actually calling plays, and you tell Atkins, like, hey, man, I'm sorry, good luck. It's not like you're going to be without a job long, but it also not like your offensive line has been breaking records these last 2 years. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not even suggesting that should happen. But isn't it on the table? Like, you can't have an all-time historically bad offensive year and then just run it back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You just can't. And so either scheme has to change, which I think he believes in his scheme. Obviously, the quarterback is going to change, but
you
you
not
need to
believe
go
in the scheme anymore? I still believe in the scheme.
I'm saying he believes in it.
I know, but I'm saying, how can you be totally out on is what I'm saying at this point? Because there's been enough plays that have been out there that just haven't been converted. Like dropping balls, not seeing it correctly as the quarterback. That's not like a schematic
I guess
problem.
I still have the last part of last season in my head to go along with what we've seen this year. And then you do start wondering, okay, how much of that was just Jordan or being able to throw it up to somebody like Johnny or Keon?
But you're still winning games, man. It was tough.
No, I know, but
that's
I'm not talking about him as a head coach or a CEO. But there's no way to put it. His offense has been bad, going on 8 games now against FBS competition, mediocre to bad. Even when he had some first-round picks, it's been bad. Now, is that because he doesn't have NFL offensive linemen? He doesn't have a good offensive line? They're always making mistakes? Okay, yeah, sure. Well, then fix that.
Yeah.
Or go get better skill players, whatever the case may be. I'm not saying I've given up on the scheme, because the scheme has worked, and the scheme has been good at other places. But it's also not out of the – it's not
bulletproof.
unfathomable.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's not beyond reproach.
And it's also not reactionary after. It's not just 3 games, although these 3 games have been bad enough that you could have an instant reaction to something's got to change. But, again, it goes back a little bit to last season, and that it didn't look good there at the end of last season. And so I wonder just what changes he's going to make. Obviously, quarterback is one thing. Personnel is one thing. Is there something being lost from, like we talk about, from Sunday to Friday? Is something being lost that needs to be fixed? Because I'm going to keep saying it. Their offense is so bad, it's hard to watch. And that maybe it changes with the quarterback, but it's also like, what if Brock Glenn plays Cal and they score 40 points? That's awesome. It's great. Looks like you might have a guy. How in the world did it take you 4 games to play him, Mike? Like, that's all. That would almost be a bad look too. Like, it's a better look because at least you're finally scoring points. But it's like, what kind of evaluation are you doing where you didn't think this was the right guy all along? And I'm certainly not predicting Brock Glenn or anyone. I'm not. This offense has scored 40 points total in 3 games. It's not putting up 40.
Yeah, will they score 40
Saturday
in
night.
September? Will they score 40?
Yeah, man. Well, exactly right. What are they at, 25? They're at 25 right now because they played Georgia Tech in August. So, yeah, man, it's very frustrating. I do think that, again, it's all on the table. When you have an offense that is historically bad, like this is on pace to being, to answer your question, yeah, in December, he's not going to want to. They never do. And I'm certain he doesn't think it's his fault. Like, yeah, man, this scheme has worked before. It'll work again. That's fine. But this combination of right now of this coaching staff, offensive line, and quarterback is a complete mess. You're probably not going to fire your coaches. Your quarterback's leaving. But is this offense going to be able to tick up and double its production in one off season? How do you do that? Do you need to look at changing some things up? Do you need to be more oriented? Do you need to be in the shotgun 4 wide the whole time? Like, figure out what you want to be, but that's why he gets paid all the money, man. He's got to figure this out. Lord knows nobody's less excited about this start of the season than Mike Norvell is. I don't know. The 1st and 15th of every month, he probably still feels okay about life. But yeah, I do think that when you have a season like this, I don't think it's and I'm projecting because, hey, baby, they could win the next 9 games and average 35 points.
We can make it a playoff still. We can
still can make the playoff. You got to win all the ACC games that are left. Yeah. It gets some help, but you can make the playoffs. Yeah, but if that doesn't happen and they do go 3-9 or 4-8, 2-10, and their offense does average about 20 points a game, that's Iowa bad. Except Iowa actually has a defense. Yeah. But that's Iowa bad, and it absolutely will mean this head coach needs to look in the mirror and figure out, why doesn't my offense look like the 100 offenses in this country that are better than mine? What do I have to do to get this offense better than that? Just a new quarterback? Great, prove it. You got 9 games. Go see if you got a quarterback on the roster. Get these guys better. Have some hope going into next season that you have a real quarterback on your hands again. But that's what this all is about, right? These next 9 games. Yeah. You got to figure out what you're going to do at quarterback in 2025, and you also might have to figure out if you're making changes to a scheme or personnel or whatever will need to be changed. But I don't know, man. Do I sound too reactionary? I feel like maybe I do, but it's been so bad, Aslan.
Yeah,
it's been so bad.
I'm not factoring in the 2023 season, which maybe I should, but it just to be you've regressed. I mean, they've literally regressed. The offense has gotten worse. Well, do
you factor in the offensive line and the running game? That's kind of what I factor in because that was bad last year too.
Right. I got you.
And it hasn't gotten any better.
It's a trend. I get it. Yeah. But back to the kind of thing of there's 2 things that concerns me. The first thing is the evaluations, obviously. I think you can get that right, though. I think you can kind of sit down, get everybody together, figure out what we looked for, what we went after, why that was wrong, how we need to adjust that. I really think you can fix that kind of overnight. I mean, the roster is going to be the roster for this year, but moving forward. The second thing that really kind of concerns me, Core, and it's way too hard to really tangibly and like empirically lay out, and we can't ask Mike anything along the lines of to get a clear answer out of him, but I just remember him being just so absolutely like on tilt, but in a good way, those first few years of getting everybody to play the right way, to play to the standard that he wants. I mean, if you got a penalty, if you got a personal foul penalty, man, he's yanking you out of the game. ESPN is showing him dressing you down, but not like in a disrespectful way, like just telling you like how important it is to play the right way, to not, screw your team over, things of that nature. And then meanwhile, this is Mr. Special Teams. We're devoting however many periods every single day to special teams. We don't know how to field a punt anymore. We're jumping off sides on punt returns on 4th and 8 near midfield and letting teams have manageable situations to go for it. And then he seemingly is like placid on the sideline. Listen, I know he's probably just panicked about his offense and trying to fix it, and he might not want to use this moment as a teaching moment, but like every single thing in a practice, in a game, was a teaching moment for Norvell, and the level of intensity that he had. And I don't know if the snub did something. Again, I don't know how to put it into words, to put into proper context. But you see people start tweeting stuff about like, listen, man, Georgia's 2-time defending champions. They had all their guys out there pretty much in that bowl game. You rage quit and didn't roll the guys out there. I don't know how much of you maybe let off the gas pedal and you let guys not play in that game, so maybe you now can't hold their feet to the fire and hold them accountable any longer. But I mean, there's some sort of like energy, fire, passion that's missing out of him, I feel like. And I don't know how you get that back if you really have indeed truly lost that.
Yeah, I don't know. He certainly doesn't seem any different to me at practice when I'm there. That I don't think he's like
practice is still
so I don't want to give the impression that he seems like a different person, because to me he hasn't. I will say this: his team is different, and I'm not, obviously the talent is gone. His team doesn't play like his teams of years past. Even that 2021 team, although that didn't start till
right around this time,
halftime of Game 4.
Yeah.
So they were, 2, 4, 6, 7 halves into the season before they I felt like, found themselves and turned it around a little bit.
There's a lot of guys that were in the suck, though, right? Corey, like they lived it, like in 2020 and those first 4 games of 21. A lot of these guys showed up here, like wanting, like we're showing up not bottom floor, we're showing up penthouse.
Yeah,
13-1 team, defending ACC champions. You guys got a great NIL program. You're putting guys in the NFL now, like. We don't know what's going on in Alabama. Maybe we're not even welcome anymore. We're going to jump onto this. This is not a lifeboat. We're jumping onto a freaking cruiser yacht. And I just don't know if you've got the same sort of mettle to bounce back at this point of the season. Because the 21 season in hindsight kind of makes sense. It's like, all right, man, we've lived through this enough. We are pissed off. Enough is enough. Adam Fuller's finally kind of figured out his rotations on the back end. We're going to settle in with one quarterback, and we're going to ride this thing out. I just don't think they've got the level of I don't think they have the level of character that the 21 team had on this roster to turn it around.
But how much of that, and I don't think that's I don't necessarily disagree, and I don't think that's unfair to say. I would say how much of that though goes back to who was taking snaps in 2021 and who's taking snaps now.
Yeah, man.
They believed in that guy, man.
Yep.
And I think it was, North Carolina game, he was the best player on the field. They were 1-4 playing a top 20 team. He was the best player on the field, played exceptional. They all ran hard. Trayshawn ran really hard. Like they made plays for him because they saw him making plays. And then you think about the Miami throws late in that game, the one to Ja'Kai, the one to Parchment, like that. That's what they had with that kid. They had a kid they believed in that actually made plays, that went and won games. In how that permeates an entire team, you can't overstate it. It's hard to quantify, but you can't overstate it when you have a quarterback that's the guy. You have a quarterback that's a leader. Now, Jordan wasn't always the most talkative, and he had to learn to be a leader, but his play was leadership because he ran hard. He ran for first downs. He didn't slide as much as he probably should.
Man. What he went through, everybody respected.
Exactly right. Everybody respected him and believed in him, and whether they were friends with him or not, they loved the competitor he was. When your quarterback doesn't, and I'm not saying that DJ isn't, and this is not all at DJ's feet, but let's just put it this way to be polite. When your quarterback play looks like that, looks like it has through 3 games, certainly the last 2 games, it's hard to show a lot of character. Yeah, but they got the ball back twice, man. They were down, 20-3.
Yeah.
And they got to 20-9. Cryer had a really nice game, and it's a really good interview if you want to go watch him. That's a guy you can believe in, I think. Maybe he's a future leader for this football team. But you get an interception. You have your hour-and-a-half march to the 5 just to settle for a field goal. But they showed a little life. You get the ball back even after the crazy ass jumping off sides. You let them burn a couple more minutes of the clock, but you got the ball back with plenty of time to go down and tie the game. We can get to the 2-point conversion if you want. They got bigger issues than decision-making like that. But you get the ball back with 2.5, 3 minutes to go, and your quarterback just sits there and wears sacks.
Yeah.
So is that a character for the L84 guys, or is the quarterback not seeing it and just wearing sacks? So, we haven't seen the All-22. I don't know if there's anybody open on the play or not. I do know that
You
if
can throw it
Brock
away
Glenn's
too, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. If Brock Glenn's your quarterback in that spot, I don't know if you get a first down. I don't know if he throws a pick six. I can promise you it doesn't get to 4th and 35, and you have to punt with 2 minutes left down by 8. But that's what happened with this kid. He can't avoid pressure. Your offensive line is not doing a great job of stopping pressure. And even when they do give him time, even when it seems like they do give him time, a lot of times he will stand there until there is no more time. Like, they can't block forever. And so you've got to be able to move out of the pocket, escape, wait for somebody to come open, even if they're not open initially, see the people that are open quicker, whatever the case may be. But by and large, it just comes down to the quarterback play has been so subpar that I think it saps everything. It saps the life out of the team. All it would take, maybe. No, that's not true. It's so much more than that. But imagine, Brock Glenn in the first half on Saturday, on 4th and 1, running for a 41-yard score. Just what that does to the team.
Yeah.
Instead of great, DJ, you got the first down. 3 plays later, you've gone nowhere, and Ryan Fitzgerald has to go kick a 54-yard field goal. Like, you didn't do anything after that. You weren't even in the red zone in the first half. You didn't get inside their 30. But Brock Glenn maybe scores on that play. Brock Glenn is not sensational yet. He's not a great quarterback yet. He might not ever be. But he could make plays that maybe provide any sort of spark, because quite clearly this kid can't do it with this coaching staff.
All right, we brought it all the way back to the quarterback. I guess maybe it's the easier way to go. Because, I remember I'll always remember being on the sideline in the Swamp last year when Akeem Dent, I think it might have been the opening drive for the Gators, but I think he got like that roughing the passer, which was really ridiculous.
That crazy roughing the passer, yeah.
And, dude, just like the way Norvell ran over to the referee, I thought he was going to murder the guy. I mean, he was just so intensely locked into everything and just riding with every single moment like it was life or death. And then again, guys are making horrible mental errors, and then the camera pans the mic and it just kind of on the headset all right, so what do we want to do on this next play? And it's like, man, where went the guy that's grabbing people and no, you're not walking away from me, man. Look at me. I'm telling you right now, this is the way you need to, and you don't have that. And then I put in the group text with you, and I don't want to throw this kid under the bus, but if you go and look at the interview between Joshua Farmer and Justin Cryer, they're asked the question where no one's asked specifically to answer, but they're just can you talk to us about what the feeling is in the locker room after a game like this and how you guys are feeling? And Justin Cryer looks at Joshua Farmer. This is me projecting. Aslan's projecting, everybody. But go look at it. It's the minute 15 mark, I think, of the video, maybe. Dude, Justin Cryer looks at Joshua Farmer please answer this, man. Please answer this question. And Joshua Farmer looks at him and is and non-verbally looks at him as nope, you can take it. And then Justin Cryer's got to be the sophomore who, showed up in the middle of last year, had committed to Northwestern, but then left after the whole Pat Fitzgerald nonsense. He's the guy that has to answer that first. And you're the guy that's been here for 4 years now. And you're looking at him nope, I don't want to take this one. And then granted, Josh answered it afterwards, but just this, I don't know where the leaders are. And I know people ask us that before every season. And I'm who cares, man? If you got dogs, you got dogs. Clearly they don't got dogs. And I don't know what kind of leadership they have. And I just don't know where Mike is right now, just in terms of what he's what is at the forefront of his mind. Is it just oh my God, this is so horrible, I cannot believe it? Is it trying to figure out how I can fix this thing? Is it I'm already thinking about what coaches I need? I don't know where he's at, man. And he is not giving a lot of positive body language in these post-game press conferences that makes you think that he's got a clear vision of where to go next. Now, I'm not on the guy. I'm not out on the guy, but I wonder where he's at, man. That's the second biggest concern of mine behind the evaluation aspect.
Well, he was smart enough to pull the fire alarm or have somebody pull the fire alarm 10 minutes in, so he didn't have to answer too many questions.
Smart man.
That's a joke, but if you're watching the press conference, the fire alarm was pulled, and it was cut short. But then it stopped after 5 minutes. It was very annoying. He didn't stop talking. He kept going.
Unflinching.
Unflinched, yeah, unfazed even. Wasn't given even the time of day. But the fire alarm, it wasn't just the alarm. It was the lady saying, the recorded voice saying, there's a fire in the building. Please evacuate. Which, I mean, if I was more hacky as a columnist, that would have been my lead.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Oh, right. A fire alarm went off because Florida State football is on fire, and it's in the middle of a dumpster. But I didn't do that. I went with, you need to make quarterback change. So sure, it's a weird situation for him, man. It's an odd, unique circumstance where he is coming off 13-0. He does return a lot of players, but the players he did return were not stars. He didn't have a single, what would you say, star return from last year's team. Toafili was a good role player. Azaria Thomas, very, very talented player, but a third cornerback. Shaheem, starter, but not a star, and then wasn't there on Saturday. So Lundy, role player.
Patrick
played
Payton.
A lot, but role player. Darrell Jackson never played. Josh Farmer, starter, but again, he was the number 4 player on your defensive line. Again, these were guys that knew. And so
what about Patrick Payton, Darius Washington?
Payton, yeah, but see, that's what I was going to say. Do we think Patrick Payton's a great leader? Do we think Darius Washington's a great leader? And maybe for different reasons.
You brought them the kickoff, though, man. You're the head coach,
that's
and you
true.
brought them the kickoff.
And Farmer. But I'm like, Darius Washington is such a quiet kid, I think. I think he's he's the one that's always running. When practice is over, he's sprinting to the corner where they finish up their work during the day. I think is just he must be an absolute joy to coach.
Yes.
And I think he's one of those leader by example guys. I think Peyton could be more of a rally him up voice of the team if it's used in a productive way. I don't know that it always is. I don't know that it isn't either.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's always used productively. His emotions and passions. But yeah, man, and then the guys that are probably, they came in that are their best players are new guys. And not everybody is a Jared Verse where as soon as he steps on campus, people gravitate toward him and he's a leader. And, there's just not a lot of guys like that. And I just think that he's caught in a situation where he doesn't have he obviously doesn't have a lot of great players, but he doesn't have any leadership either. And the guys that are starting, a lot of them are guys that weren't here last year or didn't play a big role last year. And it just there's not a lot of player leadership to be had on this team. And that's one thing we did talk about before the season, because I do think it matters to an extent. But your quarterback, not only is he not playing well, he doesn't talk. He doesn't give off he doesn't give off negative energy. He doesn't give off positive energy. He's just, he's a quarterback. He's a veteran.
Okay, all right, get off DJ. We got to get off DJ.
I'm saying, but that's the most important position. But it also goes to like Toafili, great kid. Always loved talking to him. He's made some huge plays for this program. You wouldn't say he's real vocal. No. Maurice Smith ain't vocal. I think Jeremiah Byers is pretty vocal, but he hasn't played in 2 games. So who are your leaders? Who would even Morlock's not vocal? Like who would even be your leaders on offense to get things going? Malik, who's been here for 8 months? Maybe the fact that he had a good game, he can start to be more of that guy.
And I don't know if you had it last year, but you had a bunch of excellent players though. Like I don't know if Jordan led by example, but like Johnny wasn't very vocal, but like Johnny just was on his business. Keon was on his business. Jaheim was on his business.
I think Trey and Jordan were the personalities that drove that offense, and they also scored a lot of touchdowns. That helped. Keon's personality helped. That's what makes Verse such an awesome leader. He was a badass.
Yeah. And he was like very jovial and playful. Like to have that mix. Like, yeah, you can look at that guy to leak. He's like, man, he's a first round pick. He's gonna probably have 2 sacks in this game and help us out. Like they don't have any of that right
But now. You also had people, yes, Verse was a big deal. Deloach and Bethune are big deals.
Yes.
That's the middle of the field, and those 2 guys were absolute leaders too. I think Akeem was a bit of a leader. Obviously, Renardo was a leader. Jerrion was a talkative leader guy. They just had that. They're missing. Jarian, sorry, buddy.
That was my fault.
They're missing all. They're just missing that. They're obviously missing the talent. They're missing a personality. They just don't have a personality. Not anything you'd want to laud anyway and applaud. You get a kid in there that can make some plays with his legs, dives forward on 4th and 6 for an 8-yard run, gets the crowd going, maybe spikes the ball because he's so excited. Heck, Did you see the Oklahoma State game 2 weeks ago where the kid got penalized for doing the pistols all the way down the sideline?
No.
It was unbelievable. And he's like 25 years old, the Oklahoma State quarterback. It's late in the game. It's like 31-31. They're down 31-28. He throws a beautiful throw with like a minute left. It's like a post route. Maybe it's a corner route. Probably 35 yards, just drops it in the bucket. A really nice throw down to the 10-yard line, 8-yard line. They're about to go in and win the game. Well, my man looks to the Arkansas sideline and literally takes his hands out and does the pistol motion like he's shooting guns for 25 yards. He's got his chest to their sideline, saddling down the field, just doing the pistols. And they give him a 15-yard penalty, and they end up having to kick a field goal. They end up winning in overtime, so it doesn't matter. It was crazy. It's the most bizarre. I haven't seen anybody do that in 30 years. But, it's still cool that he has that in him. It's still cool that he has that. He's obviously having fun, but he's a believer. He's got confidence. He's a bit of an S-talker. Go get you an S-talker, man. Brock Glenn, I'm telling you, folks, I have no idea.
Jordan talked, by the way.
He absolutely did. He talked a lot his last 2 years, too.
Yeah.
And he would smile at people. When kids would get kicked out of the game, he'd wait for a target. He'd wait by to them. Like, he did all that kind of stuff, man. He enjoyed that. He was a competitor, man. And he was a bit of an S-talker, a bit of an MFer. And you just need that. Brock Glenn might be that. Cromenhog might be that. I don't think DJ is. And I just think at that position, maybe. But look, man, Brock Glenn might go out there and throw 4 picks. And then you're back to the drawing board. I don't know. But I know he would at least energize you in the short term. And obviously, what risk is there, man?
Yeah, we need to turn over that stone. It has to be turned over. It has to be.
Yes. What risk is there to not make a change? You're going to be 0-4? You're going to be 0-4 anyway. And you're going to score, a touchdown? Yeah, we got it. We've seen the MO. You're going to score 1 touchdown a game. No matter – so there's no risk here. It's not like all of a sudden the offense is going to wreck. It's already wrecked. Try something. But, yeah, I just think these 9 games are all for building towards the future.
Famous man once said, actually might have been a woman, but that abs are made in the kitchen. So all that working out that we do, Corey and myself, you still got to eat right. And usually that means eating at home. But, man, that's so annoying, right? Like all the dishes, having to go to the grocery store, measuring everything out. That's why you should check out HelloFresh. We used to do this a few years ago. Remember, everybody, HelloFresh? Go to HelloFresh.com/free warchant for an offer for 10 free meals, free shipping, and free breakfast for life? ? But this stuff was great. There's literally recipes that they sent me 2-3 years ago that I still use at home, but it doesn't quite hit the same. Some of these spices they use are proprietary, and people on the internet try to match it, but they fall short of the glory of HelloFresh. But these meals show up like properly packed in dry ice. Everything is pretty much proportioned out, so like it helps out with the entire measuring and like utensil usage. Like everything's pretty much ready to go. You just either throw it in the pan, throw it in a bowl, and it lessens the load because like I don't really mind cooking at home. I just hate doing dishes. I found out HelloFresh gave me delicious meals and also lessened the dishwashing aspect component because I don't have anybody to help me out with that stuff. So womp womp for Aslan. Check out HelloFresh. Again, HelloFresh.com/free warchant for an awesome introductory offer.
I wanted to go back to a positive. Cryer, like you talked about. I think he graded it's take him for what it's worth. They had DJ the highest graded offensive player, and we saw that game. But Cryer, I think, was the highest graded defensive player. Had a great interception, made some tackles, ran some guys down, got hurt and came back. Like, maybe that's a kid you can build around. That might be the kid that's the leader next year. Give him 9 more games of experience. He starts next year as a redshirt sophomore. He's in the middle of your defense. That could be a natural leader.
Defensively, I mean, we're almost at an hour of the show. We're going to wrap things up here. But there's a segment of the fan base that's just absolutely disgusted with the defense. And I guess I kind of get it, but I feel like they gave you – they improved. They got better, at least.
Yeah.
Which I know maybe not the highest bar. But, I mean, listen, I don't think that's a great Memphis team, which, again, there's people like, you got to give Memphis credit. I'm like, I don't have to, do I? But to hold them to you hold them 20 points. I mean, what else do you want? And people are like, well, get off the field on 4th down. And it was 4th and 8. They did their job. Then you jumped off sides and you made it 4th and 3, and you still ended up getting the ball back to your team anyway. So, I mean, defensively, is there anything that stood out to you as being better and tangible and sustainable?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it played out kind of how I thought that I was hoping it would, in the sense that with a more traditional offense, with a quarterback that isn't a great runner, I thought the defensive line impacted the game a lot at times. I think Memphis had like 20 rushing yards until their final drive, maybe 10 rushing yards. I think Florida State was out rushing them until the last drive of the game. Yeah. Now look, are there guys running open a little more than you'd like? Sure, but at the end of the day, they scored 20 points, and 6 of those came where you gave them the ball after a muffed punt at your 25-yard line, and then you turned the ball over and they got the ball at your 20-yard or 25-yard line. They got the ball twice at your 25-yard line and settled for field goals each time, and they scored 2 touchdowns. So if you don't give them the ball in those stupid turnovers, they score 14 points, and they missed a 54 or 55-yard field goal. The defense did its job. It did its job. It was better. It wasn't great. Nobody's going to sit here and say it was great, but what were y'all expecting, a shutout? They gave up 2 touchdowns to a team that's probably pretty good, that's used to scoring a lot more than 2 touchdowns. And the defensive line at times overwhelmed that offensive line. Not all the time. In the offensive line, the Memphis offensive line got better as the game went on, pass pro-wise. But the quarterback had happy feet for a reason.
He never seemed comfortable at all.
Because the first couple of plays of the games, he's just being swallowed. And so I think Florida State had like 8 or 9 pressures. They had 3 sacks. They had 8 or 9 tackles for loss. Like they impacted the game, and they did it without Shaheem Brown, who is, as we talked about last week, if you watch the Dominic Robinson videos on our site, he seems to be the number 1 communicator. And he wasn't even at the game. And they still only gave up essentially 14 points. We can say 20, whatever. They gave up 2 touchdowns. They were without Cam Riley. He got hurt early in the game. Cryer went out. They were playing DeMarco Ward at times. They were playing Devontae Brown and Amarian Cooper at safety at times, along with Hussey and KJ Kirkland. The linebackers were the Omar Graham and Sean Murphy weren't even dressed out, and then Cam Riley got hurt, and DJ Lundy didn't play a ton either. And they still, again, managed to give up 2 touchdowns. So that, to me, if they can keep that up, is something to build on. That was a good performance. Not a great performance, not a sensational performance, but more of what we were hoping to see from this defense. And they were without a couple of, again, Shaheem Brown's one of their best players. Certainly one of their best communicators and we hope leaders. And they played without him the whole game and gave up 14 points. So that's, again, it's college football. What, are you going to shut teams out? That ain't happening. Florida State doesn't even get shut out. And look at their offense. Giving up 20 points at home is yes, the defense was not the problem. Yeah, they gave up a few too many 3rd downs, but they also did get off the field a couple of times when it mattered. Memphis was trying to run out the clock twice. They got and you got a 4th and 8 stop. Then you didn't get the 4th and 3 stop. The kid made a nice play to get the first down, but you pushed them back after that. They missed the field goal. Then you got another stop after you punted with 2 minutes left. So, man, I thought the defense was fine. I thought Jackson and Farmer and Lyons were good in the middle, and I thought Marvin and Peyton at least made more of an impact than they made all year.
Yeah, Peyton led the team with 5 pressures. So, I mean, I know people want sacks and they want batted balls and fumbles created, but Speaking of those 2 guys, those on the edges, they were part of our over-unders for the Memphis game. Shout out to the winner. Big Cleat 42 was the winner. For the members, I forgot who the non-subscriber was, but I sent them an email, which, by the way, whoever won the Boston College one that was not a member, I emailed them their promo code. They didn't even respond back and be like, thanks, Aslan. Isn't that rude? Is that rude? I thought that was extremely rude.
It is. It's incredibly rude. Take it back.
Yeah, I wish I could.
Take it back. Can you?
So the Memphis quarterback pass attempts was 34.5. Over it went because he had 38, I think. Yes, he had 38.
That's a good number, though.
I tried. Yep. Combined PAT and field goal attempts for Ryan Fitzgerald, 6.5. I love that, Corey. Man, you were believing. You still thought like 30 points was a thing.
Yeah, man, that's
here.
my bad. That's my bad.
But
2?
Hey, what? Yeah.
1?
No.
2.
Yeah.
He kicked 2 field goals, right?
Correct. Yeah. And they had the 1 touchdown, but they didn't need him because the chart said to go for 2.
I don't know the chart says to do that, but if you guys didn't watch the post-game press conference, real quick, I asked Norvell about it. He said that he wanted to win the game, meaning he wanted to go for 2 in that moment to make it 20-11, so then a touchdown and a field goal wins the game instead of ties the game, which I can get behind. And then he also pointed out that if you don't get it, well, then you need a field goal, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion to tie the game, which is what you would have been doing anyway if you had kicked the extra point. You'd have still just been essentially settling for a tie. And he's like, well, in the history of college football, if you look at the numbers, most 2-point down conversions are a little bit more than 50% successful. So his thinking being, if we don't get the 2-point conversion here, we'll get it the next time. And so we'll be in a tie game either way.
A lot of confidence in that offense of his.
Well, exactly. How can you not have confidence in that offense? And then the 2-point conversion play, of course, is DJ. Hey, you know what, DJ? Just take the shotgun snap, scan the field, look for an open guy, and then just wear a hit. Why wouldn't you? Well, of course that'll work. But hopefully, if they had tied the game miraculously at the end there, they would have had a better 2-point conversion play to just snap it to DJ and let him find the open guy. That's why he did it.
That's what makes it so maddening, man, because they have, when they do their first 11 on 11 period when they're outside, it ends with a red zone goal line 4th down play. And they have not been very great at it. I mean, you could say it's almost like a 2-point conversion sort of situation. And then during the post-game press conference, Norvell's like, you guys are at practice. You see the work they're putting in. And it's like, yeah, man, but like, don't you see it? Anyhow, Cam Davis rushing yards, 28.5. Under on that one. Our guy
if
had
he'd have gotten the ball those couple of times, he'd have flown past it, but DJ pulled it instead.
You're not wrong. Brock Glenn snaps, 1 half. 73% of participants said over. 73% of the participants were incorrect. DJ Uiagalelei, incompletions. This one feels a little unfair. 10.5. Good number, though, Corey. Was a good number. They found themselves having to chuck the ball all over the park. He was 16 of 30.
And at least 2 horrible drops.
Yes.
The Keziah Holmes one, man, it's like, buddy, and that's what you talk about with being tight and everything. It's like, man, of all the times for you to drop the ball, like, you don't even get on the field much. And if you catch that ball, it's schemed up perfectly. Yeah. It's not going to be a touchdown, but it's going to be a first down, and it's probably going to be an extra 20. It's going to be 20 yards if you cut it back to the middle. And instead, you just dropped the ball. But you're right about the Darian one. That is a drop. You got to make that play. Shout out to Darian for making a great catch later in the game on the sideline. But, yes, he needs to get the ball to him quicker. But either way, Darian, catch the ball, buddy.
Combined TFLs for Marvin Jones Jr. and Patrick Payton, 3.5. Under.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones Jr. had half, and Patrick Payton had 1.
But they were close to a few other ones.
Yeah.
Payton could have had 2 or 3. They were disruptive.
They're disruptive.
Good descriptor.
Yeah, big cleat. 42 got all of those right, and then he won on tiebreaker. I forgot the other. Somebody else also had all of them right, but it went down to the tiebreaker. So, which was Kyle Morlock receiving yards. I think he had 54, 58.
54, yeah.
So,
a couple nice catches too. There at the end of the game.
Something to build off.
Maybe get him going.
Something to build off of. All right. Anything else you want to add, Corey? Anything else from the weekend? Anything from the world of college football? Georgia vulnerable. Maybe Arch Manning's time to shine now. 4 touchdowns for Peyton's nephew.
And it's funny when I saw him because he had like a 60-yard touchdown run too, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And when I was watching that, I'm like, what in the world? And I'm like, oh, yeah, his dad was the receiver. So he's got a little bit, and afterwards he said he gets his speed from his mom. But his dad was an SEC receiver in the 90s, so Cooper Manning. So, yeah, okay, so he does have some real athleticism in his genes. No, you know what, though? Watching Notre Dame do what they did, like,
what? Oh my gosh! What
that
happened?
Doesn't make sense. Like Purdue obviously is bad, I guess, but that was crazy. And that would be again when you look at these other. Washington lost again. I do like that Alabama again, folks. Don't judge it on this year. The Big Ten is not going to want its marquee games every week to be an SEC team smacking the bejesus out of them. And they've had 2 straight games, 2 high big noon games, where Tennessee goes into the big house and beats one of their storied programs. Texas goes in the big house and beats one of their storied programs like a drum. And then Alabama goes and beats one of their better programs of the last 20 years like a broken drum. It beats the tar out of them. That's not bad news for Florida State. Again, Florida State needs to be better than this.
Yes.
They will be better than this. But they just proved last year, Aslan.
Yeah.
It ain't like the last good year at Florida State was 2013. Then you'd have real worries. But they just won 19 games in a row. Yes, they've taken a bit of a dip in 2024, a little bit of a dip. I go on a limb and say I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. But the fact that they were so good so recently, and the fact that the Big Ten is getting hammered by the SEC on the regular, this week's big noon kickoff is Ohio State versus Marshall. I think Fox could be like, yeah, people are tuning out pretty quickly to these games. These aren't great ratings.
Well, they got to start doing more interconference games early on. They can't have
and then
these.
Purdue getting beat like that by Notre Dame. And so, yes, all that is good news for Florida State. The worse the Big Ten looks on a national stage, the better it is for Florida State, in my opinion. So maybe Florida looked terrible again.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we get back together and record later today for the Tuesday show, is Billy Napier gone?
No, I don't think so, right? Wouldn't they have done that on Sunday?
No, they said they're doing a meeting on Monday or something. Or they're supposed to having a meeting, I think, Sunday. I think they met on Sunday to get all the money together, and it sounds like it could happen as early as today.
What? For what? What's the point?
It's
Why
$25
do it in
million. What do you mean?
No, I mean, why do it in September? Who's going to coach?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Why just punt on the entire season? Like, they got Mississippi State this week. Mississippi State got housed at home by Toledo.
Fire him and just let him finish out the string?
Why would he do that?
Like,
I'd go sit in my house and collect
I love
this
my
check.
guys. I recruited these kids. I love you guys. I'll finish that out with you.
I get the sense Napier has a strong connection with all these kids. He just looks like a guy that's fun to be around. I just don't understand. It's not like you're going to announce a new hire, and that new hire can come in and coach all of October and November. So why not at least let the string play out a little bit more? I know it's like it's a black cloud over the program, but I don't know, man. At least you know you have some continuity for the next couple of months, as opposed to, all right, what if this 5-star kid that's not playing much, his coach just leaves? Is he going to show up to practice? Who's coaching? Are they going to be coaching hard or looking for jobs? Like, I don't know. So, yes, I think Napier will still be the coach. I could be completely wrong. By the time you're listening to this, it's already been announced. But the good news, I guess, is that Lagway didn't look incredible against a real defense. So maybe he's not the next Tim Tebow.
Meanwhile, A&M's trotting out some redshirt freshman quarterback that is dropping bombs.
And what could he do, Aslan?
That wasn't fun. That wasn't fun.
What could he do that was pretty unique?
Run?
Yeah. He ran for 80-something yards, avoided pressure a lot to hit some plays downfield. Again, I think at this day and age, it's almost like when I'm talking about Mike Norvell needs a quarterback with legs to make the offense work. Man, look around. What percentage of colleges have quarterbacks that don't have athleticism? 10, 15, maybe? All these quarterbacks can move a little bit.
Can you compare Carson Beck's shimmy and athleticism to Brock Glenn for the people at home? Is that
Brock Glenn's a better athlete.
Okay.
I think better. I mean, he's faster.
A pocket Carson Beck's he's a pocket passer, right? He's not doing a lot of
what I would compare Brock Glenn to, and only because they're both white. So we have to compare white quarterbacks to white quarterbacks.
Obviously.
What about Stetson Bennett, athleticism-wise?
I feel like Stetson's got a little more
juice.
Yeah.
But Brock Glenn is in the conversation at least.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've seen those runs in practice. Like, he's not gonna outrun a safety, but he can outrun almost every linebacker they face, I would think, in every defensive end. DJ can't outrun the guys holding the yard markers on the sidelines. And again, he used to be able to. He ran for 500 yards a couple years ago. I was expecting a little bit more of that, but clearly it looks like I said it in the column, it looks like a glacier moving. He moves at a glacial pace, and that's not what you need in 2024. But, yeah, Brock Glenn is certainly faster than he's closer to Jordan Travis than he is DJ. A lot closer as far as athleticism.
And the sad thing is, I think $25 million is the number they've got for Napier's buyout, which I don't know. I think one of the papers in town has the Mike Norvell number. I didn't look at it, though.
One of the papers, huh? How many are there?
I felt bad. I'm like, look at you taking a shot at your.
I mean, come on now. And it's my former place of employment, and I love some of the people that still work there, obviously. But to say that his seat is getting warmer,
right?
And that what would it take to buy him out right now is just.
Well, I didn't realize it's only 85% of it.
Oh well, Lord,
so
sign the check offered. Sign the check, baby.
But no, so Florida's got $25 million, I guess, on the hook they owe Billy Napier. And I'm like, in this day and age, just why do that? Just go ahead and spend that on players to make him better. But then you think about whatever the number was reported by the New York Times, The Athletic on Florida State, $13 million. Ohio State's $20 million. So it's like, so what does $25 million get you? If like you give that to Billy Napier and what happens? You guys maybe win 10 games? So like you do have to get rid of him. I feel.
Yeah, and I think obviously there's a stench around him right now anyway, and sometimes it gets so far gone that it's not coming. There's no way it can be salvaged, and you'd rather not spend more bad money on bad money that's already spent, because you're probably wondering, doesn't matter what we give this guy, he's not going to coach it well. Let's go get a guy that can coach. So yeah, it's a weird time in college football. But yeah, I definitely think Napier's done. But they've got like Central Florida and Mississippi State coming up. They can win a few games.
They ain't beating UCF, man. They're not.
I mean, UCF had to pull up a miracle to come back and win against
Snake Pit down there in Ammon.
Where'd they play?
TCU.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's a good win. It's a really good win. But I'm saying I don't know that they're unbeatable. But yes, it's not looked good. He did not manage that game well. Pick a quarterback, buddy. Pick a quarterback. But yes, we're not. This isn't Wake Up Gators. It's Wake Up Warchant. And and by the way, shout out. We got to hear the Warchant a lot, Aslan.
My gosh, they doubled down.
They were like, oh, you guys want to play, huh? All right, well get ready. Go to bed early on Friday night, band kids, because you're going to be worn out by the middle of the second quarter.
How do you think the stadium's going to look 7 p.m. Saturday night?
It's family weekend.
Okay, good.
It's a night game.
Good, yeah.
I do think it'll still be rather full. I think the students will leave at halftime no matter what's going on.
And that's fine. We're not shaming
Absolutely
anybody.
Not shaming you. It's they showed up. They showed up late on Saturday, meaning they showed up right before kickoff, but the students were there, and then they left a lot of them left at halftime, but we don't blame you. Look at this product. But yes, I think it'll still be a good showing. But yeah, shout out to the it was funny. I was talking to somebody at a tailgate afterwards. He's like, they went so far the other way from what they did the first game when the stadium ops. Like it was DJ music every play to no music ever.
Was there any DJ music?
Yeah, so I heard but here's another thing, Aslan. When I heard it, and I didn't hear it a lot, it wasn't overwhelming like it was on Monday night against Boston College. I heard Rage Against the Machine. I heard the Killers.
Okay.
And I heard the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
So they went a whole different route.
Oh.
Like they lost the playlist from the Boston College game and then just got the one from, I assume, one of the Dynasty years. It's like, oh, this is the 1997 track. Let's just play all this. But yeah, it was much more enjoyable. It was a much more enjoyable atmosphere because it's also. It's not just that you're losing games, but when you're playing that stupid pump-up, I don't even know if it's pump-up music,
right.
That monotonous club music, wanting people, I guess, to dance, when your team looks like that, it's just such a horrible – the juxtaposition of what's going on in the field in the excitable music. I'm okay with Rage Against the Machine. Perfect. Keep playing that. F you, I won't do what you tell me. That's what these players are saying in Norvell every other play, Aslan. That's their motto this year. So hopefully they'll turn it around. They'll turn it around on the field like the stadium ops folks turned it around with the music on Saturday. Much more enjoyable, I thought.
You're going to be at the you're going to be there later this morning, 11:30. Everybody, check out warchant.com. I think we're going to even get Alex Atkins since he's now back. He's reinstated. He's served his 3-game suspension, so we should be getting all the coordinators. Adam Fuller, Alex Atkins, John Papuchis, as well as head coach Mike Norvell. You got one more week, right, Corey? Like, if it's 0-4, then we got to go back to the drawing board and figure out what question you're going to ask him to piss him off, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We shouldn't expect that out of you today.
I will say this. You are bringing champagne to the Cal game.
Am I?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're doing it again.
Oh, boy.
I know. I can't believe it's been less than 3 years and we're right back in this spot. But yeah, man, because if they don't beat Cal, you got SMU, you got Clemson. I mean, you're staring at a 1-11 season.
Oh.
So maybe they can win at Duke, maybe. Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, it's not looking good. So I honestly think a first win, we're in champagne mode again.
Hour number 2 on headlines as well, or is that
nope?
bridge too
No,
far?
I'm not bastardizing that. It's been I did it for a College World Series visit in a 13-0 season. I can't so quickly be back to. Oh my gosh, they just won a game. Isn't that awesome?
Okay, all right. Again, 11:30. We'll have live updates from the press conference. Jeff Cameron Show 1 to 4 o'clock. Jeff's back to 3 hours. Everybody, hallelujah. He's Corey Amazon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy.